Welcome to episode 3 of the Solo Sideline. I'm your host, Connor. I want to create a space where I cover topics I like to discuss with people who want to listen and comment. This is to start conversations and listen to topics you all want me to research and give my thoughts on. Please engage with me on Instagram or Twitter. My name is the Solo Sideline. I will comment and have conversations about points I'm passionate about, points that you guys comment about, whatever. I want this podcast to be all sports and no fluff. And some fluff items that didn't make the cut today. George Pickens signed his franchise tag. Seems like he's going to play for Dallas. Last week, he didn't want to sign his franchise tag. He was looking for a trade. All this stuff. The drama ends in less than a week. NFL voluntary workouts start. Right now, the reports out of those training camps are the players look awesome, look out for this dangerous team, or this player didn't report because there's a contract holdout or standoff. Who cares? That's not real reporting, it's just filler. Bo Nix had a cleanup ankle surgery, but I think he's going to be healthy and ready for week 1, and that's what matters. They added Jalen Waddle, and that even makes me less worried. If he misses some training camp, who cares? He's going to get reps in with Waddle and be on the same page. I wouldn't be shocked if Bo Nix and Jalen Waddle have already done off-season workouts together, just the two of them, or with the receivers. Peyton Manning used to do that. I think it's fine. Stephon Diggs had a legal case start yesterday for assault. It's now wrapped up. He was found not guilty. That definitely helps his legal issues clear up. But he could still face NFL discipline. And I don't think a team will sign him until that's all sort of figured out. It wouldn't make sense for a team to sign him just for the NFL to suspend him. He might still play a crucial role on a contending team like he did with the Patriots last year. His best days are definitely behind him, but he can still play some ball. And it only took 2 weeks for me to have a bad take. I thought the Celtics would be in the NBA Finals. I claimed that they were the deepest and the best team in the East. And they had a hot start. They had a 3-1 lead, and then they proceeded to blow that lead. The Celtics were eliminated from the NBA playoffs by the Philadelphia 76ers Saturday. So that's my first bad take. And without further ado, here we go with episode 3 of the Solo Sideline. This week, we're going to focus on the NBA. A lot's happened, and I think it's worthwhile to talk about. Round 1 of the playoffs is over. We're on round 2. Every team has played a game so far in round 2, and I think it's definitely worth talking about. But first, we're going to talk about the results of round 1. And we're going to start off with the Timberwolves beating the Denver Nuggets in 6 games. This is huge, since the Wolves were without Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo, who's their starting point guard and shooting guard for part of the season, or part of the round. Then, for Game 6, they were without 2 other players, one of their backup guards and one of their backup forwards. And the backup guard, Ayo, had previously been the leading scorer in a game where the Wolves upset the Nuggets previously in the series. So without Dante, Anthony Edwards, Kyle Anderson, the backup forward, and Ayo, they were severely undermanned. But they went out there, took care of business, and upset the Denver Nuggets, who were the better team during the season, better team on paper, and the healthier team in the playoffs. But Jaden McDaniels went out there, put the team on his back, and led them to a win. And earlier in the series, McDaniels talked smack about the Nuggets, saying they were all bad defenders. The plan was to go out there, just go right at them, take the ball to the hoop, and score. And he talked the talk and backed it up with walking the walk. The Wolves had no reason to win this series. And honestly, I'm shocked that they did it. And this leads me to the Nuggets and the media proclaimed quote-unquote best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, who was a 3-time MVP winner NBA champion, and Finals MVP. And he's probably going to be the runner-up of the MVP this year. Not trying to take away from his greatness at all, but we need to discuss what went wrong. This year, the Nuggets had 2 all-star players. Jokic, of course, and Jamal Murray. And they added Bruce Brown in the offseason. He came back to the team where he won a championship previously. The Nuggets were the 3rd best team in the Western Conference by record and ended the season on a 12-game win streak. Against the Wolves, Jokic averaged 25.8 points, 9.5 assists, and 13 rebounds, which is slightly down from his regular season averages. Instead of being a playoff riser, he declined in the playoffs. In addition to that, usually a current top 5 player in the NBA can put the team on his back and carry them to a series win. Jokic was unable to do that. Now, a player should be able to do that in the NBA compared to baseball or the NFL because a team only has 5 players on a court at once. So a generational talent or a star player has a lot more ability to do that. He can go up and down the court, play defense, score the ball at will. Jokic just wasn't able to do that. And part of the blame is on the role players not stepping up, the coach being outcoached. But when you have a top 5 player, that player should be able to go down and get the win, carry the team, just like Jaden McDaniels did, who's not a top 5 player. Now imagine if LeBron did this in his prime at age 31, lost to a injury-riddled 6 seed as a 3 seed, after one of their players insulted you and the team. Every sports show, article, tweet, Facebook, MySpace message would all be about LeBron and how he's a fraud and choked. Jokic doesn't face the same scrutiny or issues. For the record, when LeBron was 31, he came back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals against the 73-win Warriors. 73 wins is pretty significant because that set the record for the most regular season wins in an NBA season. After the Warriors actually lost that finals, that's when Draymond cried in a car to recruit KD to the Warriors, and then they won back-to-back championships against LeBron. They needed KD to come to join Steph, Clay, Draymond, and the best record in all of NBA history to beat a 31-year-old LeBron. And this is a perfect segue to discuss the Lakers and the Rockets series. The media and people were ready to slander LeBron's name and legacy with this series because they were up 3-0, and a lot of people were thinking LeBron was tired, gassed, done, and was ready to blow a 3-0 lead, which, for those who don't know, would be the first 3-0 lead blown in the history of the NBA. LeBron is 41 years old. He's the oldest player in the NBA playing right now. When his team is healthy, he is the 3rd option on the team behind Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Luka missed the whole series, and Reeves only played the last 2 games of the series. So when LeBron, who's 41, led the Lakers to go up 3-0 against the Rockets, it was impressive. Going into the series, most predicted the Rockets would win. Vegas predicted it, ESPN analysts predicted it, and most people who have a podcast or just like to talk. And as I mentioned earlier, LA was down their 2 leading scorers, Luka and Austin Reeves. And then the 41-year-old GOAT turned back the clock, put the team on his back against a much younger, more athletic, and defensive-minded team. And on Friday, he did just that and led both teams in scoring with 28 points. He also had 7 rebounds and 8 assists. Now, a quick timeline regarding this series. Before it started, people, as I said, gave the Lakers no chance. They even could get swept. Then LA won Game 1. Then people said, if LeBron pulls this off, he's the GOAT, which is greatest of all time. Then LA won Game 2. People then proclaimed the Rockets were frauds. LA proceeded to win Game 3. And the way they won that game, the Rockets had a 6-point lead with less than 30 seconds. And LeBron and the Lakers forced overtime and then won in overtime. The reaction was the Rockets are the dumbest team ever. Then the Rockets came back and won Game 4, so they didn't get swept. And that's when people said LeBron's cooked, tired, it's a wrap. Wrap it up, it's over, Rockets are going to win this series. Rockets came out and won Game 5. And that's when the narrative shifted to LeBron's going to blow the first ever 3-0 lead, and his GOAT case is over. Not so fast. LeBron and the Lakers won Game 6. They were in control of the game for the whole time. And then the narrative shifted to the Rockets were frauds, the Lakers beating them. It's not that impressive. And it's just interesting seeing how fast the narrative shifts when it favors LeBron and the Lakers. Part of that's it's the Lakers, and it makes headlines and people tune in. And the other part of that is it's LeBron, and people still are debating Michael versus LeBron. And I think this is the most impressive feat we've seen a professional athlete at this stage in their career. A 41-year-old NBA player putting up numbers of a superstar with as many minutes played and miles that he has on his body. And if we're still debating the Jordan versus LeBron, I think everyone just needs to sit back and appreciate the greatness as it's currently being played. During this series, there was a sequence in which Bronny, who's LeBron's son, and LeBron just score 5 unanswered points against the Rockets. And it started with Bronny hitting a 3-point shot, then LeBron getting a steal, throwing the ball up in the air for Bronny to complete the alley-oop and dunk it. And I don't think this is ever going to be seen again in the NBA or sports as a whole. A father-son duo in the playoffs. Part of that is it takes a toll. Any professional sport takes a toll on someone's body. And LeBron being 41, having as many minutes played as he does, still being in tip-top shape, maybe not a top 5 player in the NBA, but still top 10, and then sharing the court with his son, and then in the playoffs. It's hard to do that feat in general. And he might be able to get Bryce there and then do it again. Now to discuss my first bad take. The Celtics blew a 3-1 lead against the Philadelphia 76ers. And I want to start out by saying I have something called take integrity. I'm acknowledging my bad take. I'm going to acknowledge I thought the Celtics had the deepest and the best roster in the East and would be in the finals. Now, I say this part because Dave Portnoy of Barstool doesn't have take integrity. When the Celtics were up 3-1, he was proclaiming they were going to be in the NBA Finals. So maybe a bit of a front runner. Then Saturday, once the Celtics lost and Philadelphia completed the comeback, Dave went on Twitter and posted he's not shocked that the Celtics lost because they were a bad team after watching them. I don't know when he watched them, because if he was watching them, he would have watched them go to a 3-1 lead. And then he came out and proclaimed they were going to the NBA Finals. So I'm not sure what part he watched where then he was like, oh, they're a bad team. But he doesn't have take integrity. He claims he's not a revisionist, but I think he is. He just wants to be relevant and people to talk about him. And congrats for him. He did it. But I stand by my opinion that Boston had the best and the deepest team in the East. But one of their flaws is they tend to live and die by the 3-point shooting. Last year, they set the regular season record for most 3-pointers made in a season. And that was with 5 more games to play. The Celtics love to shoot the ball from deep. And this can lead to blown leads in games. Now, if a team heavily relies on 3-point shooting, night in and night out, and then has an off night of shooting, they can lose the game. In the regular season, which has 82 games, that's not a big deal. Losses happen. Whatever. But in the playoffs, it could be a disaster. one momentum swing, extending a series, whatever. Huge in the playoffs. In the series, Boston was up 3-1, then proceeded to lose the last 3 games. The thing all the losses had in common was poor 3-point shooting percentage. In Game 5, Boston shot 28%. Game 6, they shot 29%. So a little bit up. But then Game 7, they went down and shot 27% from deep. Shooting the 3-point shot has become more popular in the NBA since Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Golden State Warrior dynasty. The thought being, chucking up a bunch of threes, enough will go in to outscore the opponent. 3 is more than 2. Part of the change in how basketball is played is also the 3-point shot stretches the floor more, which allows open driving lanes to develop so a player can drive to the basket, attempt a layup, or pass the ball out for an open 3 by another player. A lot of role players now specialize in 3-point shooting, or you have what they call stretch bigs, a power forward or center who's also known for shooting a mid-range jumper or a 3-point shot. Very specialized roles for those players, and they can extend their NBA career. The Celtics live and die by the 3-point shot. Instead of driving to the basket to try a jump shot, a layup, get fouled, make the free throws, they just keep chucking up threes from behind the arc. The Celtics have a history of being favorites and then losing to a lower-seeded team, and some can say a worse team. Because seeding doesn't always mean you're worse. You can have injuries and have just fallen down the standings. Last season, they lost to the Knicks in 6 games. The prior year, they actually won the NBA championship. But then going back before that, in the 2022-23 season, they lost to Miami, who was the 8th seed, the worst team in the East. In the 2021-22 season, they made the finals, but then lost the Warriors that had an older Steph, older Klay, older Draymond, and Jordan Poole. For those who don't know, Jordan Poole was actually sucker punched by Draymond and then later on was traded by the Warriors. They kept Draymond, who was the instigator, over Jordan Poole. The incident was recorded and the footage was actually released. Now, during that finals, the Celtics actually had a 2-1 lead and then proceeded to lose the remaining 3 games. In the bubble during COVID, the Celtics lost to the Heat again, and the Celtics were the 3 seed while Miami was the 5th seed. Miami went on to the NBA Finals and lost against LeBron and Lakers. So this just goes to show the Celtics have a history of being favorites and losing to a lower-seeded team, and mostly due to the living and dying by the 3-point shot. Now we go on to the other series. That was a big surprise. The Orlando Magic had a lead against the Detroit Pistons, but then they blew a huge opportunity to upset the Pistons in Game 6, which would have been the closeout game, while the Magic also had a 24-point lead in the second half. So the Magic blew that 24-point lead by going on the ultimate cold streak of shooting. And the Detroit Pistons took that momentum, carried it into Game 7, and blew the Magic out. The following day after the Magic were eliminated, they fired their head coach. Now, the head coach and their star player, Paolo, already had a bit of a beef. There was an issue. And a lot of NBA teams, or any professional sports team really, will side with the star player over a coach. Coaches come and go. They're easily replaceable. They don't view coaches as They view coaches as cogs, but not as important pieces. The star players are much harder to replace, so they'll typically fire the coach and side with the star player. And that's what happened here. But blowing a series lead, and specifically a 24-point lead in Game 6, doesn't help your case at all. So now the last series in round 1 of interest is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. And the Cavs have what some people have dubbed the Big Four, which is Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. The issue with this Big Four is I don't think it's a Big Four. Harden's typically a playoff disaster. He always chokes in the playoffs, always has since his days in, honestly, OKC as a role player, then Houston. He famously had a 2-game series or 2-game lead against the Warriors, who actually had KD at that time, and then lost. And Donovan Mitchell has a ceiling that he can't seem to overcome better teams, and that's plagued him since his days with the Utah Jazz. Now, the Cavs pulled off a Game 7 win, and they're the higher seed, so they should have really taken care of business earlier, but they did it in Game 7. Now the reward is playing the number 1 seeded Detroit Pistons, who are really feeling themselves after winning and coming back against the Magic. And Game 1 had just been played tonight. As of this recording, we're recording on Tuesday night. That Game 1 has been played between the Pistons and the Cavs, and the Pistons took Game 1. So the current playoff matchups are the Spurs versus Wolves, and right now the Wolves lead that 1-0. The Lakers versus OKC. OKC leads that 1-0. 76ers versus Knicks. The Knicks are leading that series 1-0. And the Cavs versus Pistons. And as I just said, the Cavs are down. So right now the Pistons are leading that series 1-0. But my predictions for this round are the Wolves upset the Spurs. I really like the storyline that this is just the year for the Wolves, even though they're injured, whatever. Anthony Edwards has come back. He did play Game 1, but on a minutes restriction. But I'm really feeling the Wolves storyline going up against the Spurs and winning. Now, I have here written down, if the Lakers win Game 1, they pull off the upset. I'm here to tell you the Lakers did not win. They lost by 18 points. But, if the Lakers win Game 2, I'll go with the upset. So my head says OKC is probably going to win this in 5 games, maybe 6. But my heart really wants the LeBron storyline to continue. So I'll say whoever wins Game 2 is going to win the series. I want to go the Knicks over the 76ers. I think the 76ers spend a lot of energy coming back from a 3-1 deficit. As I said earlier in the pod, needing to come back from a series or just having a series extend usually comes back to bite a team. When a team has to expend a lot of energy to come back from a deficit, or they dropped a game that they shouldn't have, so they have to play another game, it could lead to injury. It just leads to more minutes being played, more energy being spent while other teams rest. And the Knicks are actually coming off a little longer rest than the 76ers. So I just think the Knicks win this series. And the Cavs already lost Game 1, but I think they beat the Pistons. I think even after me knocking the Cavs and saying James Harden is a disaster in the playoffs and Donovan Mitchell has a ceiling, that they have better talent than the Pistons. Both had to play Game 7s. Both had to expend a lot of energy. But I think the Cavs win it. And we'll see if another bad take comes out of this. With my luck, probably 2. And now this brings me to the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed your time listening to me talk sports, share my opinions and thoughts with you all. Don't forget to click subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other streaming services. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Solo Sideline. And I hope you tune in next week for the next episode. Thank you.